screenshot. So pull out your cell phones right now. Pull out your cell phones and turn the flashlights on. Rose and Holly, if you guys want to come right here, stand right here in the X and face the photographer. And they will take a picture. On the count of 3, guys. Ready? 1, 2, 3! Excellent.
Come back to safety, my darling.
Okay. Oh, they move all the furniture.
All right, well, welcome.
Hi. Let me turn my camera
Give me a big hand, all right. Oh, it was very nice to meet both of you. Let me start off by saying happy birthday, Rose. It's still September, so it's still valid.
Yes.
Virgo season still.
Yep. And your birthday's in December, so
Yes.
but we're all
Happy
same year, so
birthday.
we're all age appropriate.
And we're both 50 this year, and not feeling it at all.
At all.
Not feeling it.
Well, you're definitely not looking it.
Oh, well, thanks.
So let me start out. We're going to talk about being a little young, because you guys were both child actors and grew up in, well, 18 is still in my mind. I know
She
you're legal,
was a teen.
but you grew up in Hollywood as teenagers. I know that can be extremely difficult and has its own weird things attached to it. But was there anything good that came out of that, like growing in that weird environment, that you can still use today?
Well, I know for both of us, you have a very extended, large family. I have a very small, extended, weird family. So, when it came to doing picket fences, which just had its 31st anniversary recently, I was 18, 19, and I got to have this weird family again, where, I spent 4 years with, and I'm still friends with some of them, I still talk to many of them, and, it's like a band of gypsies, and it kind of does that with every crew. You take some people with you, and you leave some others behind.
It kind of sets you up weirdly in life, because you start seeing situations and sometimes people as just temporary. It doesn't help you kind of retain bonds. It doesn't educate you in that, but it also comes with a lot of positives that you can make quick friends and go deep quickly and experience really intense moments together. And then, nice to know you. Maybe I'll see you again someday, probably at a convention.
That's not true. We talk all the time.
Not us.
Not us, them. But it's true. I actually, on the podcast, we just had an actor named Jeffrey, and he said he was very good friends with Bill Paxton, and he said, we're like the circus. We come to town, we have all these ridiculous things, we eat at your restaurants, and then we pack up and leave.
That leads me to the next thing I want to...
Festival of
Clearly.
The Festival of Freaks, for sure. The best kind.
Well, that also leads me to the next question, where outside of Hollywood, you have 2 restaurants, or do you have more? I heard 2.
Maybe a third.
Right now, there's 2.5 restaurants.
Yes, thank you.
And how did you get into that?
My husband, he cooks a lot. But honestly, I grew up in restaurants. My mom was a waitress, my grandmother was a waitress, my stepdad was a bartender. So if I wanted, help with my homework, I had to go to the restaurant. And if I wanted to not feed myself, I had to go to the restaurant so someone would feed me. So I grew up along that, that chatter and that noise and that environment that I'm so used to, my guardians being at. And so it was kind of a natural progression for me and him.
Is it special? What kind of food do you serve at these restaurants?
The first one is a diner. It's breakfast and lunch. Yeah, all the things. And the other one will be Italian and pizzas, because that's my wheelhouse.
There you go. Oh, I'm already thinking of a double cheeseburger.
We have that. We do.
And the fries, how well do you do the fries? Steak fries or thin fries? These are the hard-hitting questions that I will ask today.
They're thin, and he spent about 3 months just on the fries and getting them right. So
You got it?
Pretty good.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
And Rose, you have a lot of outside activities, and you're an amazing activist, but what kind of things do you do to occupy your time when you're not out in the world? Like, what do you do for fun? Because
We're talking about the outside activities so we don't get a ticket from SAG.
Well, yeah. I'm going to unleash the crowd, they're going to do that.
Yes, our show is called Voldemort. We cannot say its name.
Any of their names. So I've already said picket fences. But I can't promote that. It's already like 30 years later. I guess I could. I could.
See if you get yelled at.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
We'll just move on in case.
We'll get a fine. Fine.
I live in Mexico and I drive a lot. I drive to remote locations. I was living in a fishing village of 500 people for a while where you had to drive about 2 hours to go to a grocery store or an ATM. And I live very close to a jungle and I see monkeys very often and I study them and observe them. They're just like us. They go home, literally, they swing across the treetops and go home at like 5:30 at night. And then they go to work at like whatever they do at 8 in the morning, they trot off that way. I fought snakes and scorpions in Hollywood, and here I am.
Okay, I thought you were going to say Mexico. I was like, I'm not going anymore.
So the last time I was in Mexico, there was a sign on the door saying, please close the door, otherwise the monkeys will get in. Do they break in your house often?
No, it's not. Where were you?
It was like outside of, well actually it was Belize. It was
Belize, yes. So
it was where the howler monkeys are.
These ones were staying more, they stay more in the treetops. They're not the ones that come down to the people. This is a really wild jungle.
Oh, so you're in deep.
Yeah.
And is it so peaceful out there that you just like, you don't have to worry about anybody knowing who you are? You can be who you want to be?
Absolutely. And, you know, I've certainly changed my look enough over the years to shake off a lot of people. And monkeys.
Not really.
Well, I am going to unleash the crowd on you if you'd like. And quick reminder, please be succinct and direct, because as much as you want to ask a question, we have a whole line of wonderful people who would like to also ask a question. So we'll start with you. Your name?
My name's Araya,
That's nice.
and my question is, what is your favorite Taylor Swift song?
You guys 50s?
No. Not out of any, just purely because where I live, I'm on 3G phone service. And I don't stream things or listen to things, so probably the last time I heard her was the first time before Scooter Braun stole her catalog. I do know that.
Good answer.
But I didn't get along with him because he took so long to shoot with because he was constantly trying to make everybody laugh. But I
Succeeded. He's
The
been
12th hour, that's annoying.
That's only because he would come in for like 1 or 2 days.
Yes.
And so he was like, I'm on, and we're like, we're dead.
Yeah.
True
story.
Thank you for coming, Jesse.
Hi, my name is Sherwood. I've been watching the show for over, like 5 times over. And I was just wondering, magic overall, what is the favorite magic that you have seen?
Our favorite magic that we have seen in life or on the show?
Let's go with life first.
Oh, because
And
we're
then-
not allowed to talk about the show.
No, I just thought I want to see what kind of magic you're going to talk about.
So it's a hard habit to break. We've been programmed to promote, and now we're being deprogrammed. Magic in life. Well, I'll tell you this much. I think it's quite magical that this many people in this room still care about the thing we're not supposed to talk about. It feels like we're in our 3rd generation. It's magical that it transcends. It's magical that it's still meaningful, because to me it was 8 very meaningful years of my life. You know, I was blood, sweat, tears, a lot of Piper tears over the years, and so I'm glad it worked out for everybody.
I stopped going to magic shows because they make me mad because it hurts my brain. Because I stare at the drum, I'm like, what the fuck? And then I end up with this headache. I would go to this place called the Magic Castle in Los Angeles, which is that's a really cool place, and it's really fun. I think card tricks, like sleight of hand, like close up, is really, I just commend the people that can do that, because the practice and dedication to hurting other people's brains is pretty impressive. My least favorite is ventriloquist, not that you come across them very often. But when you do, I start imagining this poor person's life by themselves, staring in a mirror, like with their hand up a doll. What kind of life is that? And I start like getting very depressed. So, magic, I will say, every time I'm on an airplane, I fantasize about having Paige's powers of orbiting because I would never have to be on an airplane. Now, best.
Hey, I'm Ashley. You guys have brought us all a lot of joy over the years. What is bringing the most joy to your lives right now?
Well, in earlier years, I would have said my children.
Other teenagers.
But they're all teenagers now. Every single one of them. And, you know, my youngest is making all these promises that he's never going to become like his brothers did. Like, suddenly overnight, they just woke up and they were just angsty, attitude-ridden teenagers. And they smelled. Like, overnight. It's somewhere between like 16 and, well, one was 15, one was 16, where they just woke up angry. And I go, wow, it's like a werewolf, like they just changed. And they do get more hairy, especially mine. And so my youngest, who's 14, is trying to hang tough. And he says he's never gonna be like that. He's never gonna become that. But he just got his first pair of AirPods. And so he's walking around the house with them. And they're always on and in his face. And I went, you know, I say something like, did you clean your room? And he goes, huh? And I'm like, well, if you take that out of your head, you can hear me, see? And so it's beginning, like this is the first like little inkling that it's like, the huh? It's happening. I was like, just so you know, that's where it starts.
What?
It's spreading.
For me, and I think this is true for probably maybe a lot of people, is that it's a pretty scary time in the world right now. It's been a bit scary for a while, and it seems to be getting a bit more intense as the days go by. So I just recommend looking for tiny joys and sticking them together, stitching them together, you know, to the greater fabric of your life, instead of like big moments. Some little tiny moments. Like I went to an aviary this morning and had a really nice conversation with a lonely bird. I felt good about that.
She was with us last weekend in Tampa, and she's got more stamina than I do. She was standing at the table longer than any of us, and she made sure to stay later so she could meet everybody that was in line. You know, and this week she's in treatment, and next week she won't be, and she'll be with us in San Antonio. So I will put Utah on the list. One horror movie in their life, so I did one. It was bad, but it was a good time for me at the time. So it was a good experience. But yeah, I'm still waiting on mine.
I did a horror movie and it was really good. It was called Scream. Sorry about the giggles.
That's okay. Don't say the names.
So I didn't see Holly's movie.
That's okay.
I did see Scream. Fantastic death, by the way. Did you survive your movie?
I did.
Okay.
I did. What did they call that? You told me this.
Final Girl, for
Thank
fuck's
you.
sake.
I don't know. I only did one.
Although I think Cherry Darling and Planet Terror was definitely a Final Girl.
Yes.
So you didn't have to, were you covered in blood for most of the movie, or what kind of horror movie was it? Psychological thriller?
No, it was very campy, very gory, it was too soon. It was too soon to be laughing at such things, I think. And Scream kind of, you know, did that and totally got away with it, but at the time it was just a little too out there.
Well, we're glad you survived.
Thank you, I am too.
Just the fashions of the 90s, and she was like, oh no, my friend wore that the other day to a job interview, and literally, like, so I guess my question is, what do you guys think? Like, should that fashion come back? Were there ever outfits you were uncomfortable wearing, or?
You know, we were just talking about this on the podcast the other day, where like, season 1 and 2, Piper just had way too many sweater sets. Like, who does that? Not even Jessica Fletcher does that. Way too just far too agreeable in those days where I was like, yeah, sure, it's fine.
The 90s movies, because I joined Charmed in 2001, so skating on that line, but I would say for the 90s movies I did, my characters generally had very cool style, primarily because I worked really hard at it. Like Tatum in Scream, I styled her, and the red and white striped pants and the white boots, those were mine, but in Charmed, like I would say, I've always hated low-rise boot-cut jeans, and so I see them in stores now. I'm like, oh, you're gonna regret that. You're gonna regret that. What they don't know is what they'll regret.
Yeah, the classics come back and stick around, and I'm not
I'm
sure
hoping
we
that
have.
cut that low-rise, where like that Frankie B jean. I could see the people's pubic hair. I was like, this is a big no for
I
me.
think there's a few still in my closet. I need to auction those off for charity. Put them to good
I was
use.
like that tall. I'm like,
Thank God I was going to wear that. I'm glad we didn't do that.
thank you
But
for not sharing that with us.
that was our last question, so please give a huge FanX welcome